The Octotester has come quite a way. Massive thanks to Stephen Turner for his dedication and help in the project. And now we have version 3. This device is geared up to be the all-in-one electronic testing solution. And version 3 has a familiar multimeter look. That thud right there is the sound of the new tougher body of the tester. It's more rugged and more appropriate for field testing application. The instant standout is the bigger display, so you can see the trace better, of course. And we include a magnetic strap because it's handy. Inside we've got batteries, so now we are convenient and portable. Look, I'm a little biased, but I think this tester is leaps and bounds ahead of its previous iterations. It's increased my fault finding productivity quite a lot, and it finally feels like a proper instrument that belongs on your workbench. Let's take a deeper dive into the menu. We have also done a big rework of customization with version 3, and that is the introduction of a menu. So to call up the menu, you simply press any button once, puts you straight into the menu. Each button has a designated section of the menu. So the menu is split into 4 sections, and as you can see here, number 1 controls power off, number 2 controls the menu, number 3 and 4 cycles between your profiles, which we will get to. In terms of power, the menu times out after a set amount. The tester can be powered off by holding down the power off button, which brings up a pop-up. The tester will also power down if it doesn't detect any activity in a certain amount of time. So within the menu, you have 9 different profiles that are fully customizable in regards to the features I am about to show you. To cycle through the profiles, all you have to do is click on the corresponding arrow. So if we enter the menu, we have the serial number with the unique serial number of the device. We have the zoom. So the best way to show this section of the video is with an example. Let's just probe a 1K resistor. Within our zoom, we can change the amount of zoom that we apply to this profile. So we can cycle through between half zoom, a quarter zoom, zoom off, zoom to auto, and max zoom. The purpose of zoom is to scale the trace so it fits the full size of the display. This is at the expense of some clarity in the trace. So let's just stick it in auto for now, and this will automatically detect the trace coming back in and it will scale it accordingly. Then we have rotate. So all rotate does is it basically flips the display so that when you're, for example, working side on, you have an easier time viewing the trace. So then we get to frequency. This is the frequency at which the microcontroller works. The smaller the frequency, the more rapid and responsive the trace. So you may have been thinking why the trace is taking a little bit of time to react. And that's because the higher the frequency, the slower the display of the menu, the waveform. That's because this frequency is the frequency for the entire system. So you're probably thinking why you wouldn't just keep the frequency at 3000 if it's the fastest, it's more responsive. So you may want to do that. Let's have a look at some capacitors. So here I've got a 10 microfarad capacitor, and we have a nice healthy trace. So the reason why frequency is especially important with capacitors is because increasing frequency decreases capacitive reactance. But what this means for us is as we increase the frequency, it will be easier to see smaller values of capacitors. So this is a frequency of 30,000, and by the way, this isn't hertz, this is a nominal value, so please do not use this instrument as a calibrated frequency device. So if we take the same frequency and put it on a 100 microfarad capacitor, we see that the trace isn't exactly the same. Into the advanced menu, just click any one of these 2 buttons here to enter the advanced menu. In here we've got settings such as power down time, which is the time for which I have to hold number 1 to turn off the tester. Then we have divider X and Y. So these are used to calibrate the display. So for example, when I have no probes connected, open circuit, I want this line to go the full width of my screen. So I'd go into advanced menu and I'd adjust the divider X so that this line would span the entire way. Decreasing the divider value will make our open circuit line longer. So let's go ahead and do that. So ideally you just want to set this once and forget about it. I'm quite happy with that. In divider Y, you won't notice a difference, but this is the span of the short circuit. So if I wanted our short circuit line to span the whole height of this, I would decrease the divider to increase the length of that line. So I'm quite happy with that. And I'd go back and I would save that. And those settings save to profile 3 at the moment. So if I was to go to profile 2, you can see that our settings are completely different for this one as opposed to this one, which means that for the same capacitor, we can view it a number of different ways. From my own experience, I found I only really use 4 profiles. So I have profile 1 as my standard profile, and I have no zoom, I have no rotate, and I have the lowest frequency, so we're nice and snappy. And I just use this to do basic checks like continuity. So then my profile 2, I've got that in auto, zoom is auto, my frequency is 7500. So with this profile, I'll start to test my capacitors. So for example, this big capacitor here, I think this is 180 microfarad. So my profile 3, I've got a 3/4 zoom and I've got the highest frequency possible. So with this profile, I can see very small capacitance values. And then for my last profile that I normally use, profile 4, 3/4 zoom again, and my frequency I've got sort of mid-range 10,000, so I can get an idea of if I want to up the frequency, if I want to go lower. So on this one, I'm not too happy with that trace, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into a new profile, and I'm going to go auto zoom there, and I'll just play around my frequency. So this is looking like a small capacitor, this one. This is a healthy capacitor. I've got a trace that I'm quite happy with there. Hopefully you get an idea of how useful this new upgrade can be. To summarize, we've got a bigger screen, a tougher body, it's ready to power up, and we've got a bunch of smart menus to fully customize your workflow. Currently we have some units being field tested. We'll get some feedback from those field tests and hopefully apply them to make a version 3 final ready to put on the market. So until then, happy testing, I guess.